There was an article in last week's Maryland edition of the Washington Post. It was, if two children are raised in similar ways, why is one child more difficult? And as soon as I read that, I said to myself, this person never read the Torah commentary of Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch was a great rabbi in the 19th century in Germany. His commentary on the Torah and other books of his are still studied, and we still learn so much from him. And he makes a remarkable statement regarding this week's Torah portion, where we are told of the birth of Yaakov and Esav, two children who turned out to be so different. How did that come about? Same parents, twins. And yet Samson Raphael Hirsch says that the contrast between the two of them may have been caused by mistakes in their upbringing. That's an incredible statement. He is saying that Yitzchak and Rivka made a mistake in how they raised their two boys. You know what the mistake was? They treated them the same. They thought that they were the same. And you know what? No two children are alike. Each is different, and each has to be understood differently. We citizens of the United States should learn this lesson. If there's one thing we learned from this election, it's that 75 million people in the United States don't see things the same way as another 80 million people do. And when you think about it, it's understandable. I learned this lesson from a book someone had given me to read. I was shocked when I saw the title. It was Deer Hunting with Jesus. I don't hunt deer, and I don't believe in Jesus. But it was a book written in 2007. Its author, Joe Bagant, returned to a place where he was born in Winchester, Virginia. Winchester, Virginia is not that far away from here in Baltimore, but it's as if it's two different worlds. And he told a story about the major industry at that time in his city was the Rubbermaid factory. And I thought to myself, there are 1 million of factory workers in the United States. I don't know a single one of them. Do you? And it seems that the people in the Rubbermaid factory in recent years saw their wages kept low and their health insurance kept to a minimum because Rubbermaid constantly threatens to save money by moving its facility to Mexico. I didn't know that. I'm not afraid that Beth the Filler is going to move to Mexico. And I didn't know that there are millions of people in America whose sentiments were expressed in these words, spoken by one of the people from Winchester. If you spend your days at a soul-numbing, repetitious job, when are you supposed to find the time to grasp the implications of global warming? Let me tell you something else I didn't know. I'm a strong proponent of gun control. But after reading that book, I began to understand how that sounds to others. Joe Bagant describes his own home in these words: in families like mine, men are born smelling of gun oil amidst the forest of firearms. The family home, a huge old clapboard farmhouse, was stuffed with guns. For millions of families in my class, the first question asked after the death of a father is, who gets daddy's gun. I didn't know that. I didn't know that there's a world out there just as vibrant and as vital as mine, but completely different. And when you think about it, that's only natural. It's been pointed out that if you live in an urban area, your needs are very different than if you live in a rural area. In an urban area, you're reminded how much you need the government to keep order and to provide services. In a rural area, government spending seems to be intrusive. There are different ways of looking at things. And we have to learn that here in America. Because if we don't, you know what's going to happen? Either Sean Hannity or Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, will get their way. After the election, Sean Hannity had a diatribe saying behind a graphic that had the words, "They hate you," we're supposed to forget their vicious, vile attacks over the last 4 years. Well, excuse me, I'm sorry, that's not how this is going to work. Not on this program. I won't and cannot be intimidated by them. Why do you feel intimidated? They just see things different than you. And then there's AOC. That's a piece of work right there. She called to make an enemies list to get back at anybody who worked in the Trump administration. What were they guilty of? Seeing things differently. Look at Israel. You can take a train now between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv in a half hour. And yet it's like two different planets. And just as the people in Jerusalem and the people in Tel Aviv have to learn to get along, even though they see things so different, we in America have to do the same. Yes, Samson Raphael Hirsch got it right. If we try to force everyone into one mold, you'll end up with a Jacob, but you'll also end up with an Esau. So in the weeks and months ahead, let's not negate the other 75 million. Let's not cancel the other 75 million. Let's reach out and try to understand all of the people that make this the great country that it is. Let's go back to being the United States of America. Shabbat Shalom.